that tab, you will also find FAQs and all other information regarding the vaccine requirement. We have the questions you submitted and we'll also be taking questions live. Please send those via the Zoom chat function. These questions will be read to our presenters anonymously. Thank you for participating. Our panelists today are members of leadership at CDHS. Also with us today is our American Sign Language interpreter, and we are grateful for her services today. We will start with panelist introductions. Michelle?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. My name is Michelle Barnes, and I'm the Executive Director of CDHS.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jeremy Hill, Deputy Executive Director of Administrative Solutions.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Perry May. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of Health Facilities.
Hello, everyone. I'm Renee Marquardt, Chief Medical Officer.
Thank you, panelists. Michelle, would you like to kick us off, please?
I would, and thank you, Mark. As many of you, and I'm guessing all of you on this call today know, yesterday I made an announcement requiring vaccines for staff in our 24/7 facilities. And please know this was a difficult decision, and it didn't come without a lot of consultation, discussion, debate, disagreement, agreement, looking at the facts, checking CDC websites. There was a lot of thought that went into this. And I know many of you are happy about this decision because I've gotten some emails to that effect, but I also know some of you are not. And looking at the pre-submitted questions for today's town hall, I understand that some of you are very unhappy with this decision. And I want to let you know that's completely understandable. This is a big decision for CDHS and the state. For those of you who were able to see the press release yesterday, the Department of Corrections also jointly made this announcement with us, and they will be requiring vaccinations for their staff, as did Colorado Department of Public Health and the Environment is doing it. Additionally, the Office of Information Technology will be requiring employees that are in health facilities to be vaccinated, as will Colorado Department of Health, HCPF. Finance and, wait, HCPF. What's HCPF stand for?
Healthcare Policy.
Healthcare Policy and Finance. Okay. Thank you. A lot going on in my head this morning. So we were not alone in announcing this. And at the same time, the governor sent a letter to the Colorado Board of Health, asking them to look at rulemaking around making vaccines mandatory for people, not just in the state employee, but across the state, on to make it vaccines mandatory for people that work in health facilities. Many hospitals in Colorado have also announced this. Almost a dozen have announced this. So while this is a big decision for CDHS, it's not a decision made outside of what a lot of health experts and respectable organizations have also made. The federal government also is requiring vaccines for people that work for the Federal Department of Health and Human Services. So this is definitely a wave that's happening in our country, and CDHS is joining this for a lot of reasons based on science and thoughtful consideration. The bottom line is the Delta variant is rolling through the state and our country, and it's having tragic results. Listening to the radio coming in this morning, they were talking about the hospitals in Colorado that are already hitting capacity. We're back to surging to the point where we don't have enough beds and health professionals to deal with all these people coming in with the Delta variant. And while people who have gotten vaccinated are less likely to have to go into the hospital if they get COVID, we're still seeing a lot of our unvaccinated neighbors and friends that are in the hospital and are having, really difficult times. If we don't do everything within our power to stop this Delta variant from impacting us, as well as the people we serve, we have failed. We all have that responsibility. And as you know, our primary role at CDHS is to keep people safe in our health facilities. and we need to be doing everything we can to adhere to that. Overall, about 77% of our 24/7 staff is vaccinated, and I applaud you. I thank you. We are above the Colorado average and above the national average, and we should all be proud that so many of our employees stepped up and made that decision to keep themselves, their families, and our clients and residents safe. Overall, it's allowed Colorado to have higher overall vaccine rates than the rest of the country. However, while 77% is the average, some of our facilities like Fitzsimmons is at 93%, which means some of our facilities are below the average, and several facilities are barely over 50%, in the 50 to 60% range. And that puts our clients and our residents and your coworkers and your families and others at risk. And we need to have safe spaces to support some of the most vulnerable populations in our country. For example, people that live in our group homes that have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We're the safety net for the state. So our clients can't just say, hey, I feel unsafe. I don't think your vaccine rates are where they need to be. I'm going to go move somewhere else. They don't have a choice. And so we're making the choice to protect them and protect our vulnerable populations in the country. So happy to take any questions on the why and why we're doing this. Seems like a lot of the pre-submitted questions, we're trying to understand the logic behind this, and then some are very specific about what it means to you as an employee of the state. So Mark, can I ask you to ask some of the questions and drive that? Because I know they're coming in as we're speaking.
Happy to, Michelle. A lot of the questions we have are very similar with one another. And one of the big ones is, how can an experimental vaccine that is yet to receive full FDA approval be mandated?
That's a great question. Dr. Renee, would you like to take that?
Sure, I'll take that one. First, I think it's really important to clarify that these vaccines are not experimental. I know that when they were brand new, it seemed, a little disconcerting for many people with something that was so new. But the experiments were done before the vaccine manufacturers submitted for authorization. So they're not considered in an experimental phase right now. The emergency use authorization is because it takes a very, very long time for full approval, and we didn't have time to wait for that. So for the authorization, they carefully looked at all the safety data from the experiments and then put the vaccines into use. Since that time, we have only confirmed that the vaccines are extremely safe and effective. And in fact, we are expecting probably to have full approval for one of the vaccines, the Pfizer vaccine, potentially as early as around Labor Day. We don't know for sure, but that's kind of the word on the street right now. So that's really the status of the vaccines.
Thank you, Dr. Marquardt. Another popular question has to do with religious and medical exemptions. This one reads, if you already have a religious exemption from getting the COVID shot, due to this new mandate, will you need to get a new exemption? And with that question, if we could also explain how the religious and medical exemption process is planning to work moving forward.
I can take that.
Jeremy, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, thanks. So we did a vaccine incentive late last spring, early summer, and some folks submitted for an exemption to receive that vaccine incentive. Those exemptions were either medical or religious exemptions. So we do have quite a few people who submitted those. We are evaluating our processes for the medical and religious exemptions. Information will be coming out next Wednesday, so a week from today, about what you will have to submit, what timeline you'll have to submit that on for medical and religious exemptions, as well as whether or not we are going to accept the previously reviewed and approved exemptions for the incentive. There might be some small changes in the process that we go through to evaluate these, but on the large part, it'll be pretty similar to what people might have experienced for the incentive. So more information to come out a week from today.
Thank you, Jeremy. Are we mandating those we serve to be vaccinated as well, and not just staff?
I'm going to ask Jeremy to take that one again, but I can take it if you don't.
I think Perry was about to answer
Okay.
that.
I'm happy to take that one. Yeah, I hear the question. I think it's an important question, because we are working in an environment where we potentially are going to be exposed by our clients, but our clients have the right to refuse medications, the right to refuse, they have lots and lots of rights. And they are, many of our clients, the environment that they are in is their home. And we cannot force somebody in their home, a private person in their home, to get the vaccine. That's completely different as an employee. So as a condition of employment, which is completely separate, the vaccine can be mandated. So I've got that question a couple of times, some confusion about why can we mandate it for staff, but we can't mandate it for the individuals that we serve. It's because there are very, very clear laws around that say we can do the staff mandate, but we cannot do a mandate to the people that we serve.
Can I also
Okay.
add something to that? Yeah, thanks, Perry. That was really well stated. I do want to say we're not forcing anyone to get a vaccine. We're saying if you want to remain an employee of the Department of Human Services in Colorado, our employees will all be vaccinated or have an exemption. So no one's telling you you have to get a vaccine. If that's, I mean, we hope you'll stay. We hope you'll continue doing the important work we're doing. We hope we have a chance to talk to you about it before you make any major decisions. But at the end of the day, we're not telling you, as a citizen, you have to get a vaccine. We're saying as an employee of the state of Colorado, working in the health and human services area, you do need to be vaccinated to do the work we're doing. So I just want to make that a distinction.
If I could just add one more thing too, which is that we have been and we will continue to work very hard to encourage all of the patients, residents, and youth that we serve to get vaccinated. We do think it's very important for their own health and important for the safety of our facility. So we will continue to do that, even though it won't be a requirement for them.
Thank you all. Will staff be able to get a booster vaccine anytime soon or when it's approved?
Renee, do you want to take that one as
I'll
well?
take that. Yeah.
I have the same question. So
recently, the CDC and CDHS did recommend and authorize that certain people, immunocompromised people, can have a third dose, which is a little different than a booster. It's really that they need 3 doses to get kind of a better immune response just to start with. And then even more recently, just within the past couple of days, we're learning from the federal advisors that they are likely to recommend a booster dose after people have had several months since being vaccinated, because it does seem that immunity is waning with time. So the CDHS is preparing for both of these things, and we're looking at how we would offer those or help folks get those booster doses. So we wanted to be following all the recommendations for what is advised for people to have the best protection possible.
Thank you, Dr. Marquardt. Next question, and we received a number of these. Why is the incentive pay not coming back if staff is being forced to get vaccine?
So I think I hear, well, there might be 2 questions in there. If we're talking, well, I'm going to answer the incentive pay for the vaccine. So are folks who are being mandated to get the vaccine going to get the incentive bonus? We offered the bonus as an incentive for staff to get vaccinated several months ago. But we are not now offering that to folks who are being mandated to get the vaccine because it is a condition of employment, so it doesn't come with an incentive. However, for those folks who are going out to get vaccinated, I would highly encourage you to research, and we can put this in our FEQs, that if you get your vaccine through certain places, you can get a $100 Walmart gift card. So I would encourage folks to make sure they get their vaccines that way.
And just to clarify that, Perry, it's not that CDHS is offering a $100 Walmart gift card. There are certain providers of the vaccine who they themselves, like Walgreens, I think, has an incentive program, or Walmart maybe has an incentive program to get more people vaccinated. And that's not a CDHS program, but there are other incentives out there.
I think Kaiser has a similar program too for anyone who has Kaiser, or maybe you can get it even if you don't have Kaiser.
Thank you. Michelle, you addressed this in your opening remarks, but I think it's worth asking this question again so everyone's clear. Is this only CDHS at this time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Absolutely not. These announcements have been rolling out by different private enterprises for a long time now. To go to a concert in Colorado, you pretty much need to prove you have a vaccine for a lot of the concert venues. To work at the Federal Department of Health and Human Services, of which we're aligned. That's our kind of our federal partner. You have to have it. To work at many hospital systems throughout Colorado, you have to have the vaccine. To work at the Department of Corrections, you will have to have the vaccine. So we're part of a larger movement of moving towards this, and I expect we're going to continue to see more and more and more announcements. Facebook, Google, you just keep adding. Companies are making the decision that it's in the best interest of their business to have people have the vaccine. Government agencies are saying the same thing. Nonprofits are saying the same thing. In Colorado, it'll be Department of Corrections, Colorado Department of Human Services, OIT for people that go in facilities, public health for people that are in facilities, HICPA for people that are in facilities, and probably more to come. So as I mentioned, the governor has asked the State Board of Health to make vaccines mandatory in all congregate care settings and healthcare settings across the state, which would include nursing home workers and hospitals and other group homes. So we are not the first, and we are certainly not going to be the last to announce this.
Thank you, Michelle. Another popular question we're getting, and this kind of encompasses all of them into one. CDHS continues to identify a critical need for improvements for 24/7 care staff to improve retention. How do you think this mandate will affect retention rates and trust within the department?
I'll take the first part and then pass to Perry, because he was out and working with our 24/7, and as was Jeremy and Renee yesterday. One, I do think, based on the feedback we've gotten from many employees, they're really happy about this decision. They want to feel safe at work. They're so driven by supporting the people that we serve that they absolutely embrace this very difficult decision, because they know it's the right thing to do to keep them safe. Because even if you have the vaccine, you can still get the Delta variant, much less chance of going to the hospital or dying, but you still can get sick from the Delta variant and you still can carry it to someone else. I think there's a lot of employees that are very happy about this decision, and it will help with retention. I understand. I know that there's somebody on this call today who's going to choose to leave over this. And believe me, we thought about this long and hard. We weighed it, but I have to say, my responsibility to keep the people in our care safe has to be what drives this decision. I can't get another notice that one of our seniors at a veterans community living center has passed away, and a staff brought the variant in. An unvaccinated staff. We need to be doing more to keep people safe. So retention is important. And I do hope before you make any decisions, you have till September 30th to get your first shot, that you carefully weigh this and talk to us and see if we can find a way to keep you happily employed here and doing the good work you do, but also keeping our clients and your coworkers safe. So does anyone else want to comment, Perry, Jeremy, or Dr. Renee? Yeah, from yesterday. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Dr. Marquardt.
I'll just
Go
just
ahead,
add-
Perry, then Dr. Marquardt.
Oh, sorry. I'll just add that I agree with you that for many people, this increases retention and trust. And for some people, it might reduce that. And we are trying to do everything we can to be transparent, to have open communication, to help people understand why this decision is being made, in order to help people make the best decision for themselves. And we hope that that decision is to stay with us and continue to serve the vulnerable people that we serve. So we know it's a difficult decision. We want to do everything we can to help people understand and get there, but also understand that some people may not be able to do that. So in answer to the question, how do we think it's going to affect retention rates and trust? We're trying to do everything we can to have it minimally affect retention rates and trust, if not increase retention rates and trust. Obviously, that's our goal. Renee?
Yeah, I just, sorry, wanted to also add, we know that this past year and a half has been extraordinarily stressful, and we so appreciate everything you have all done. It's been incredible what we've asked of everybody. We know that this new requirement is an added stress for some people, but I do believe that it will also improve quality of life for both the folks we care for and staff who work in our facilities. By getting as many people as possible vaccinated, by the whole community doing the same, we'll be able to get more back to regular operations in the facilities with fewer times that people are on quarantine from exposures and all of the other things that people are having to do. So that's a way that it can actually improve quality of life and help reduce stress.
Thank you, guys. We've received a number of questions, and I know it's trying to predict the future, which is difficult, but the question is whether or not the requirement will eventually apply to all department employees, regardless if you're in a 24/7 or not.
Let me start with that one. Right now, for all employees, you are being asked to be tested twice a week, whether you work in a 24/7 operation or office, or whether you work from home. So all unvaccinated employees are being asked to be tested twice a week. And let's see how that goes before we speculate on what might happen next in terms of mandates. As you guys know, during COVID, things change a lot. More science comes out, more knowledge. We look daily at our vaccine rates in the state. We look at the hospital rates. We look at who's getting sick. We look at who's dying and make decisions based on the best science available at that time. So I can't speculate, but if you look at people having to get a vaccine to go to certain restaurants, to go to certain concerts, to work in certain facilities, I think the trend in the country right now is we got to close out this Delta variant, and we're at a phase where mandatory vaccines is part of that solution. Does anyone want to add anything? I don't have any insight on other employees being asked to do it. I will say everybody on leadership is being asked to do it. I don't want that to be lost. While we don't work in 24/7 facilities, part of our job is being available to you at any time, which requires going into 24/7s whenever we are needed. So the entire senior team will also be complying.
Yeah, Michelle, I would just add to that there are likely going to be other folks within our organization that could be subject to other mandates or other requirements that come in the future. We do have staff who go into childcare facilities. We do have staff who go into other long-term care facilities that we don't operate. And so, as Michelle mentioned, we start looking at the data where people are getting sick and how the virus appears to be transmitting across those types of locations, it's possible the mandate will extend. We just don't know at this point. We're gonna use the data that we have available to us in making those decisions, and work closely with other organizations like CDPHE and CDC in making those decisions.
Thank you, Jeremy. Can you please fully touch on all the adverse reactions associated with the vaccine since its introduction?
That's obviously a Dr. Marquardt question.
Take that one. The question asked about all adverse reactions, so I don't think I'll be able to do that, but it is something I would like to speak to a bit, because I know that for some people who are unvaccinated, that is a really major concern, and I totally understand that. There's a lot, a lot of information and sometimes distorted information about the vaccines. As recently as just July 22nd, the ACIP, the American, forgetting what it's called, the immunization practices, the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices, just reevaluated all of the data they have on adverse reactions and on the benefits of the vaccines, and for all three that we have available. And they did conclude, and this is on the CDC website, they did conclude that in every age range, the benefits of the vaccines far outweigh the risks, and vaccine should be still recommended. I mean, the adverse effects are, can happen. They can happen with any vaccine that we get, but they're extremely rare, and the benefits of vaccines in general are just so impactful. Sorry, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I guess one thing I wanted to say is that if anyone has concerns, I'd be more than happy to speak to you specifically, or recommend someone outside of CDHS for you to talk to, or if you don't want to go to your own healthcare provider, or if you already have and you want more information. But we do know that these vaccines are saving lives in every age group. They are, their safety is on par with other vaccines we have. And it depends on, some of the information and how it's distorted, where we focus on the rare events that seem scary. But at the same time, there are many people who are having serious consequences from COVID itself, and it's just not getting the same attention.
Well, folks, that puts us at time. I want to thank everyone for attending this morning and for all your great questions. As a reminder, this was recorded and will be posted on the intranet under the vaccine tab. And also, if you would like, we are repeating a town hall tonight at 8 p.m. So please try and join us again, as we will inevitably get more questions throughout the day, and hopefully answering some that we didn't get to this morning. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, panelists. And we appreciate all of you and the difficult jobs you do and the hard work. Michelle, any closing statements?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I just want to say the questions you're asking are hard, and for the person that pre-submitted the question, am I on Fauci's payroll? I am not. It's hard to hear this, and I know there's so much emotion around this and so much passion, and this really isn't just a policy decision. It impacts you and people we care about, and so I really appreciate people being so upfront with your questions and honest. We need to be transparent and talk this out, and I'm really thankful that you guys are allowing us to do that. I'll be in Fort Logan on Friday. Happy to talk to any employees while I'm there on Friday. We're happy to have any conversations at any facility, online, by chat, however it feels comfortable for you. If your group has questions, invite any of us to come out and sit with you and your leadership and talk about it. We are completely available to walk this through and hear from you. So please don't be shy. And I don't even know who to direct them to do that, but I think most of you guys have my email, michelle.barnes@state.co.us, but please reach out.
Can I just tack onto that, Michelle, I'm sorry to loop in and add information. If people do want somebody to come out to a meeting or you know, whatever, you could go through the communications group. So Mark Techmeyer and his team ask for somebody to come out, and we'll facilitate that through the comms team. I also just want to say, you know, I was out at a facility yesterday, and I am so thrilled, just as in this town hall, the opportunities for people to ask questions and hear from us, that people are comfortable asking these difficult questions, because they are hard. They're hard for staff to ask. And I totally appreciate that, and appreciate the willingness of folks to ask questions. So please keep them coming. We'll answer them as we can. And you know, if we have an answer, and if we don't, we'll work hard to try to find one.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, thanks, everybody.